The sun blazed over the red cliffs of Arizona, where the desert wind carried dust and whispers of old legends. A lone rider made his way down a narrow trail, his horse slow and tired from the long journey. His name was Daniel Hayes, a white man from Virginia who had left everything behind after the war. With nothing but a rifle, a worn Bible, and a quiet hope for peace, he came west searching not for gold or glory, but for a place where a man could start anew. When he entered Apache territory, the people were suspicious. He carried no weapons in hand, spoke little, and offered water and food to those he met. But to 3 young Apache women, sisters, full of pride and quick laughter, he seemed like a fool. They saw the way he stumbled with their language, the way he tried to mend a broken fence for an elder and failed twice before getting it right. Each time he passed their camp, they would giggle, mocking his clumsy ways. One day, while the girls sat weaving by the fire, Daniel brought fresh venison he had hunted, not for trade, but as a gift. He bowed awkwardly, saying in broken Apache words, "For the people." "For respect." The sisters laughed again, covering their mouths, whispering, "This white man thinks kindness will earn him a place here. He knows nothing." Their laughter was not cruel, but sharp enough that Daniel lowered his eyes, embarrassed. Yet he did not stop. Day after day, he offered help, fetching water for the elderly, teaching the children how to mend tack with thread, fixing a wagon wheel with patience when others had given up. Slowly, the tribe saw that he was different from the restless settlers who crossed their lands. Still, the 3 girls mocked him, calling him stumbling bear. But one evening, everything changed. A storm rolled across the desert, fierce and sudden. The youngest of the sisters, Naichi, was caught in the riverbed when the waters surged. The flood came down fast, sweeping her feet from under her. Panic filled the camp as the tribe shouted her name. Daniel did not hesitate. He leapt from his horse, plunged into the raging water, and fought the current until he caught her hand. With all his strength, he pulled her to safety, coughing and shivering but alive. The camp grew silent. For the first time, the 3 sisters looked at Daniel not with laughter, but with awe. He had risked his life without thought, for a girl who had only ever mocked him. That night, the tribe leader, an old man with eyes that had seen too many wars, summoned everyone. He spoke with gravity, "This man has shown heart stronger than blood. We honor courage. We honor love." These 3 sisters once laughed at him. But today, the spirits laugh at them. From this day, his kindness shall not stand alone. The sisters will be bound to him in marriage, so that their laughter becomes a home, and his heart has a family. The words stunned the camp. The sisters blushed, unable to meet Daniel's eyes. He himself stood frozen, his hands trembling. Marriage to 3 women at once was not a life he had ever imagined. Yet when he looked at them, their faces softened, their laughter replaced by humility, he felt something stir. He had come west seeking belonging, and perhaps the Creator had given him a family in the most unexpected way. At first, the union was awkward. The sisters, once playful and mocking, struggled to show respect. Daniel, quiet and gentle, did not demand their affection. He simply continued as he always had, working, sharing food, protecting them from danger. When the second sister fell ill during the winter, Daniel stayed awake 3 nights, nursing her, refusing to leave her side until the fever broke. When the eldest sister dreamed of learning English, Daniel patiently taught her each word by firelight. And when the youngest, Naichi, feared the dark after her near drowning, he carved her a small wooden bear to keep by her bed. Kindness, repeated in small acts, began to melt the distance. The sisters no longer laughed at him, they laughed with him. What began as duty slowly blossomed into trust, and from trust came love. Not the fiery love of stories, but a steady, quiet warmth that grew stronger each day. One evening, many moons after their binding, the sisters sat together watching Daniel repair a bridle under the stars. The eldest whispered, "We once thought him weak. But he is stronger than any warrior, for he fights with patience, not anger." The second nodded, adding, "He gives without asking." That is the greatest power of all. And the youngest, her voice trembling, said, He saved my life, but more than that, he gave us his heart when we gave him nothing. When Daniel looked up, he saw not mocking girls but women with love in their eyes. It was then he realized, he had not been bound by the leader's command. He had been bound by choice, by compassion, by the invisible thread that ties souls together when kindness becomes the foundation of life. In time, the camp no longer saw him as a stranger. He was not the stumbling bear but the man who had built a family with patience, laughter, and love. Travelers who passed through would hear the story of the white man and the 3 Apache sisters, how mockery turned into devotion, and how a bond born of duty grew into a legacy of compassion. Years later, when their children played by the same river that had nearly taken Naichi, the sisters would smile at Daniel and say, "Do you remember when we laughed at you?" He would chuckle softly, replying, "Yes. And I am glad you did. For laughter brought me to love." And so, what began as a tale of pride and mockery became one of humanity's oldest truths. Kindness may be laughed at, but it can never be defeated. In the end, it builds bridges stronger than fear, stronger than blood, stronger than even the fiercest desert storm.